Can you guys hear me? Anybody getting any sound? Somebody's going to have to type. Hello, is anybody there? Looks like somebody's there. I have no idea if anybody's there if nobody types something. Can't hear clear. Okay, so obviously we've got audio and video. I forget there's a really long delay on this thing. The multitudes of the
Hashem echad, u'shemo echad, v'shemu l'siferes v'lisila, l'chadodi, l'gras kala, b'nei Shabbos nikah. Hashem alayich niga v'chadodi likras kala b'nei Shabbos nikah. Shalom, Ataras Marom, Gam Yisrael, Toch Emunei Am Segula, Bo Vichala, Lecha Jordi, Likras Kala, Bnei Shabbos, Leka, Lecha Jordi, Likras Kala, Bnei Shabbos.
The Shabbat blessing. Baruch atah Yahweh Eloheinu, melech haolam, asher noten lanu et Yeshua Moshienu, or ha'olam. Blessed are you, Yahweh our God, King of the universe, who gave to us Yeshua our Mashiach, the light of the world. A song for the Shabbat. To your name, Most High, to make your mercies known in the morning and your faithfulness every night, upon 10 strings and upon the harp, upon the resonating harp. For you, Yahweh, have made me rejoice in your deeds. I will overcome in the works of your hand. How great are your deeds, O Yahweh! Your thoughts are very deep. A brutish man does not know, nor does a fool understand this. The wicked sprout as the grass, and though all the deeds of the wicked flourish, the wicked deeds will be destroyed forever. And you, Yahweh, are from the heights forever. For behold your enemies, Yahweh, for behold your enemies will perish. All the deeds of the wicked shall be scattered, and you will raise up my strength as the rhino. I will be anointed with fresh oil. My eyes shall see my enemies, my ears shall hear wickedness rising against me. But righteousness shall flourish as a palm tree, as a cedar in Lebanon it grows. Those that are planted in the house of Yahweh shall flourish in the courts of our God. In old age they still bear fruit. They will be satisfied and prosperous, as a declaration that Yahweh is upright, a rock with no injustice in him. Praise to Yahweh from Tehillim 97, 1 through 12. Yahweh reigns, the earth will rejoice, the multitudes of the coast will be glad. Clouds and thick darkness surrounds him. Righteousness and judgment establishes his throne. Fire goes before him and consumes his enemies round about. His lightning illuminates the world. The earth saw it and trembled. The mountains melt like wax in the presence of Yahweh, in the presence of the Lord of the entire earth. The heavens declare his righteousness, and all the people see his glory. All the servants of idols who boast in nothingness are confounded. Bow down to him, all you little gods. Zion heard and was glad, and the daughters of Yehudah rejoiced because of your judgments, Yahweh. For you, Yahweh, are high above all the earth, exalted far above all little gods. They love Yahweh that hate evil, the souls of his Hasidim. He snatches them from the hand of the wicked. Light is sown for the righteous, and gladness to the upright heart. The righteous rejoice in Yahweh and give thanks at the thought of his holiness. Praise to Yahweh from Tehillim 93, 1 through 5. Yahweh reigns, he is clothed in majesty. Yahweh is clothed with strength, he is prepared. The world is established and immovable. Your throne is established from eternity to eternity.
The streams have lifted up, Yahweh. The streams have lifted up their voices. The streams lift up their waves. Yahweh is high and more mighty than the sounds of great waters, more mighty than breaking waves. Your testimony is exceedingly faithful. Holiness is fitting in your house forever and ever. Save me from my enemies. Tehillim 13, 1 through 6. To the chief musician, a psalm to David. How long will you forget me, Yahweh? Forever? How long will your face be hidden from me? How long will grief daily be the counsel of my soul? How long will my enemies rise up against me? Consider my afflictions, Yahweh, my God. Make my eyes to shine, lest I sleep with the dead. Lest my enemies say, I have prevailed over him, and my adversaries rejoice, for I am shaken. But in your mercy I trust. My heart rejoices in your salvation. I will sing to Yahweh, for he has recompensed me. Forgive me. Tehillim 130, 1 through 8. A song of degrees. From the depths I have cried to you, Yahweh. Lord, hear my voice. Let your ears be attentive to my plea for mercy. If you, Yah, keep records of iniquities, who could survive it? But with you there is forgiveness, so that you will be held in awe. I wait for Yahweh, my soul waits, and in his words I have hope. The Lord keeps my soul like a watchman from morning to morning. Hope, Yisrael, in Yahweh, for with Yahweh there is mercy, and with him is great redemption. And he will ransom Yisrael from all their iniquities. Please turn to the east for the reciting of the Shema. Be'ivrit, Shema Yisrael, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad. Ve'ahavta et Yahweh Elohecha b'kol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol me'odecha. Ve'hayu hadevarim ha'eleh asher anohi netzavcha hayom al levavacha. And in English, hear Yisrael, Yahweh our God, Yahweh is the only one. And you will love Yahweh your God in all your heart, and in all your soul, and in all your strength. And the words that I command you this day will be in your heart. Turning back, let us shed some love on our neighbors. Be'ivrit, lotikon velotitor et b'nei amecha, ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha ani Yahweh. And in English, you shall not avenge or hold a grudge against the children of your people, and you will love your close friend as yourself. I am Yahweh.
They are recording. We don't have any freaking choice. So everything is going like a nightmare on our end. I absolutely hate this setup with all that is within me. Everything was working perfectly last night. Turn it on today and nothing. I can't teach the law because nothing works. Part of it anyway. I have no idea if this is really working on your end or not. I need someone to tell me if they've got decent audio and video at this point. Being forced into this by Google and everybody else. Anything?
Everything looks and sounds great. Everything's working good. That's from Rich, so here from Rich, so that's gotta be good.
So we find out that the little notebook, what's this called? Tablet. Little tablet that we've been using for a timer doesn't work for anything but a timer. We've used it all this time. You can do books as long as you keep it on your thumb drive, but it won't save to the hard drive. It's got a big enough hard drive, but it'll let you save onto it. It says the file's there. It will not open it under any circumstances for any reason. So, since it only has the one USB port, I can't put my USB thumb drive in with the file and use my mouse to roll down that file. So I went out and I bought a computer. I brought it here, I hooked it up, all three screens work properly. Now none of them work. None of them. I'm so truly at the end of my last nerve is gone. You know, I used to say, raise 5 kids, I got one nerve left. It's long gone. I can't get anyone to help me. Anyone. You call the people who sell something to you, and when you're looking in, asking the questions about buying it, they're as helpful as they can be. The second you get it in your house, they don't know a dang thing about that equipment. Not one thing. I bought a switch from a company that the only thing they do is create audio, video equipment for recording. And they told me they had no way to set up a Skype conversation with me so they could look at my equipment. And without being able to look at my equipment, they couldn't help me.
Absolutely the best picture we've ever had.
And I would know I'm looking at 3 blank screens.
Well, your beard isn't quite faded out into your toes. Your skin color looks normal. Really a good picture.
I bought an encoder. I sent them a message and said, hey, I'm not getting anywhere, and nobody that is on the other end of the encoder can tell me anything. They've never heard of the largest company in the freaking world or their equipment somehow. And of course, they're in China, and I wrote them something. It took them over a month to respond to me, and they completely ignored every question I asked, and they asked me what could they do to help me. Over a month later. I'd already sent it back and bought another one, not realizing I was buying it from the same company. And it gave me the same result. If we don't get an encoder and make it work, we are going off the air forever in a few months. Because it's the only way you're going to be able to stream content live. Facebook is doing it. Google is doing it. Everyone else is doing it. The difference is now is they accept as a live stream from a camera. It's not encoded. It just comes across from a camera. Technically, I guess it is encoded. They accept that particular encoding. They're going away from that and forcing everyone to use an encoder so they can use, I guess, a higher form of streaming or something. I don't know exactly why they're doing it or why they would cut off the very business that made them who they are and gave them the size and the money that they have. I don't know why they're all doing this. But for some reason, they're unwilling, absolutely unwilling to help anyone. You call a helpline and all they say is can't, I can't do that, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't possibly know that. Well, why are you in the help desk? You might be more helpful down in the mail room or something. So I'm I'm wiped out on this. I am so wiped out on this. I am so tired of literally working 20 to 24 hours a day. I haven't slept in months, and I'm done. I'm at the end. I can't take anymore. But let's get off of me and talk about something else. I spent hours working up a just in case message because this has been my experience. Turn it on and nothing works. After it worked perfectly fine the day before, nobody's been in here, no one's changed a dang thing. You turn it back on and nothing. So I made a backup. I can't find it. And what's worse is this being recorded without my permission. I told them not to, they do it anyway. They have a button. Turn it off. Watch what happens. But maybe it's a good segue into what I was going to talk about. It's just going to have to come off the top of my head. I don't even remember what I wrote down at this point. But they're saying on the television that people are suffering from extreme depression over all this stuff that's going on, and they're all getting all upset to the point of teenagers are trying to commit suicide. What in God's name is going on? Why would somebody commit suicide? Things bad. We get at our wits' end. We get to the point where don't even come near me. As they would say in the 1600s, for I am in a foul disposition. There has never been a time, ever in the time of human history, that we haven't been on the brink of disaster. Never, ever, ever has there been a time. There are places on this earth that if the temperature moves up 3 degrees or down 3 degrees, this earth will end instantly. And most people don't know that. There's volcanoes that are under the earth's crust. They blow upward. I don't know if you technically call that a volcano, but this whatever it is, a lava and stuff that comes up, and it keeps a certain temperature. And that certain temperature, if it changes 3 up or 3 down, like all this nonsense, bald-faced lying that you're hearing about this climate crap, if it really did do any of those things, it would be over. And you know what? If it's over, it's over. If the whole spins off of its axis, there's not a dang thing that any of us can do about it. All of the prepping on the earth that we could do, it's gone. All of the money that we can hide in our backyard in some tin can, it's gone. Even if it wasn't gone, it wouldn't mean anything because we're gone. So to get all upset about something that we can't even control and nothing would change if we... I don't understand why kids are killing themselves. We have people in the United States right now that are committing a crime that is punishable by death, and some of them are actually in our Congress. We have people in our country right now that hate this country with everything they have. Hate it. And some of them are in our Congress. Some of them are in our local and state governments. Some of them are in our schoolrooms. Some of them are they're everywhere, right? And there's not a lot we can do about it. I mean, there are things that we can do about it. If we would get together and have the Constitution of States or the Convention of States, we could do something about it. But Humans don't do that. Humans sit around until they lose everything and then say, dadgummit, why didn't I do something? For the most part. There are people who don't. The only thing that we can control is nothing. We can, to some degree, we can control our emotions. We can't do it 100%. Nobody can. If we could, I wouldn't be ranting like a whatever I'm ranting like. I can't even think of anything I'm ranting like. It's got to be something bad, though. What's laughable is that any of us think we're in control, especially those of us who are religious, and we have a book that tells us that God laughs at us thinking that we have any control in anything. Isn't that what it says? I'm pretty sure it does. I'm going to make these plans. I'm going to do these things, and come summer next year, I'll do this as a result of all those things. And doesn't it say God laughs at that stuff? If we don't get together politically and do something, or if this terrible virus doesn't bring us together as a nation, which it already seems like it is. It already seems like, to me, people are starting to say we got to stop being so petty. And things like that, as bad as they are, as many people as are going to die from this, and I believe this is man-made. I just want to slap a certain guy that looks like the Colonel from Kentucky Fried Chicken, because all you hear him say is, "This is an act of God. This is an act of God. No, it's not. This is an act of man. Man went and played with this virus, and man released this virus, and now man is paying the price for this virus. Don't blame God." Can we blame God for tornadoes? Depends on what you're talking about. If you're blaming God because you built a house, you bought a trailer house in Tornado Alley, then I say no. That is not God taking that tornado and tearing up your house because he's mad at you. No. God created tornadoes because they help to create or to repair imbalances in what I hate to say nature. God created everything. Nothing's natural. But I'm going to have to use natural because I can't think of another word. But he's created the planet to work a certain way. And when these imbalances come, and they do, they are necessary. Imbalance is necessary to keep this world moving. Forest fires are actually necessary because without the forest fires, there's no regeneration. That's what causes the seeds to be released in certain trees. It's what causes the earth to be replenished with the nutrients that it needs for plant life to grow and to ultimately to feed all of the forest animals, and that continues on down to the point of feeding people. It all works together. It's supposed to happen that way. And the more we interfere with it, especially with chemicals, the more we become the problem. And we all know this, but we keep doing it. Why? Because rich people keep building their houses where they shouldn't. And poor people build their houses where they shouldn't because they have nowhere else to go, right? Everything is interconnected. Everything is intertwined. And some things we can control if we get together and work toward it. And it's not a bad idea to shut down America and quarantine everybody for a few weeks until we get together. But why that should knock out the world economy, that's rich people making manipulations to their own end, whatever that is, I don't know. There is no reason why a company ought to go out of business for being shut down for 2 weeks, or even if you're that close to the end, you should have already shut your doors. That's just bad business practice. So if this economy crashes like this, it's man-made. And if it crashes like this and it lasts for 13 years like the last depression did, that's man-made. We did not have to go through a depression that long. Our government kept doing things to extend that thing. And they may do that again. I don't know. But you know what will happen 13 years from now when we finally come out of this horrible depression? We'll all still be here. Humans will still be here. Houses will still be here. Buildings will still be here. Businesses will still exist. People will still be having children. Children will still be running and playing and laughing and giggling and getting into trouble. It's still going to go on. So why are kids killing themselves? The reason why I think that I am so at the end of my rope with it is, one, I know what I'm doing, and I can't make this stuff work without just fighting and fighting and fighting. Because everybody's trying to make their equipment proprietary so that you're dependent on them and buying their equipment. I actually had the one company with the switch tell me that if I would just buy their $1,000 camera, everything would work fine, which it probably would, because that's the way they designed it. I say that's a stupid way to do things, because you're limiting the number of people who are going to do business with you. I've found a workaround. We got a piece, the first 2 times we got this piece of equipment, it turned out it was the same piece of equipment both times, so it's really kind of only happened once. But the first one we got was no good. We now got the second one. It's confusing. I bought the first one from one company, and when he got it back, I had bought it from another company. It turned out to be the same guy, same place, same piece of equipment came back. Same problem. So then I bought it this time from a very large, very reputable company in New York. And of course, it works. But it has a humongous design flaw. They don't write about it. They don't tell you about it. And it took them weeks to finally break down and tell me that they knew that they had a problem, because they designed it to work with their equipment, and it does work with their equipment, but it doesn't work generally with anyone else's. That's not on their website. That's not in their sales promotion. Hey, if you buy our equipment, you have to buy nothing but our equipment. It'd be very helpful. I would have steered away from this. And I'll spend hours again this coming week, and I'll get these other computers working, because I depend on my notes. I spend hours and hours. I spend anywhere from 10 to literally 80 hours to put a message together. I do not skimp on this stuff, except days like today. So I have to depend on my notes. I read my notes because I have a habit of saying things backwards. I'll intend to say that there were no Gentiles present, and I had to be very careful because I was going to do it again, on the day of Pentecost in the New Testament. And it says it in the 2nd chapter of Acts, not once but twice. And every time I say there were no Jews present. So I write this stuff down so that I don't say it wrong. And I read the Hebrew spelled out in English letters, broken up by syllable, to help keep myself from saying the wrong vowel sound. Because when I make these little mistakes, I got over 500 nasty grams once because I made that very mistake. I used an A sound when I should have used an E sound. And I mean, they were all condemning me to hell. That's back in the days when people used email. Twitter was, I'm not even sure if it existed back then. And I mean, just winded, nasty, nasty emails. It was an honest mistake, So I don't read it in Hebrew anymore without, the vowel pointing confuses me. So you can say the wrong vowel sound. And in the end, in biblical Hebrew, it didn't matter. In modern Hebrew, it's everything. So I'm very careful about these things. And I've got 3 monitors over here, and not one of them, I've got one of them that says no signal. The other 2 are black as they can be. And the one over here on the computer is set to never, ever turn off. Ever. In like 3 different places. And it's off. It's as off as it can be. Plugged in to power. It's turned off. It's just little things like that have got me to where I was literally shaking. I was so angry when I started this thing because I'm just fed up with it. This has been going on for a couple of months now, and every time I think I got it, it does otherwise. Compatibility issues have been nightmarish, and nobody will tell you. You ask them, like the CDNs, you go to the CDNs and you say, do you have a list of encoders I can use that are known to work on your equipment? Oh, no, sir, we cannot make, I'm wanting to say suggestion. That's not the right word. Recommendations. We cannot make that's not what I asked. I'm not asking for a recommendation. Do you just have a list? I don't care, which one you think is the best. Just tell me which one you know that work, or which ones you know that work, and I'll figure it out from there. Oh, no, sir, we can't do that. So I just have to keep buying them and sending them back and buying another one until I finally find one that works? Yes, sir, that's what you have to do. Wow, that's insane. But it's because of all the lawsuits. We had a president who's supposedly the greatest one that ever lived. He deregulated the banks. He deregulated Wall Street. He deregulated the law firms. And now, look where we are. I absolutely hate Ronald Reagan. I hate everything that he did. And I've been a Republican my entire life, and I voted for the man twice. But he got in bed with the devil, and the devil won every single time. And that should be a lesson to us all. It really should be, because when I joined the military, they said, if you just let people shoot at you, sign on this piece of paper, people shoot at you for a while, the government will take care of your medical stuff for the rest of your life. They promised eye care, hearing, medical, dental, all of that was covered, and just let somebody shoot at you a while. Well, I did. And as soon as Reagan got done, and down the line it went. Donna lost her husband. And up until Reagan, when women lost their husbands, their children had help from the government to go to college. Guess what Reagan did? There are some things that we as a nation agreed were worthwhile when it came to helping widows and orphans. That seemed like a good thing to help people with, but no, he took it away. And there's long list of things that he got rid of in the name of let's bring down the debt. And look where we are. It was a waste effort on his part. 8 years of waste of effort, because as soon as a Democrat got in, that effort was over with. He would have turned over in his grave if had it visible when he realized what money they spent in memory of him. I'm at that point where Shalom, element in our world, vanity, vanity. Everything is just vanity. Everything that Ronald Reagan stood for, everything that he did in the name of bringing down the debt in this country was a waste of time. It was vain. I see where I'm going with now, I think. And the conclusion that this man had, he was like, political, you can't win it. Wars, you can't win it. There's no way. Because we're at that place where we think we can fight a war without shooting somebody. We think we can fight a war without somebody dying. We think that we can fight a war without innocent women and children dying. No, you can't. So if you're going into a war, you better know what you're getting into, right? But no, we don't. We go over there thinking that somehow we can declare war and show up, and suddenly everybody will grab hands, hold hands, and say, that's pretty vain if you think about it. We go over to Afghanistan and we take over the war for the Russians. They were like, we go over there, we take over that war, and now we're actually negotiating with terrorists. You're going to turn that back over to them, knowing that it's going to be just exactly like it was before, hundreds of billions of dollars for nothing. Has anything changed since the days of Shlomo? No. Because you fight one war, maybe you die, your son comes along, he's a spoiled brat. He doesn't want to fight a war, so he gives it back to those people. Next thing you know, they're right up against your border lobbing bombs over into your country. Kind of like what's going on in Israel. Anything, there's no hope. Oh my gosh. Yeah, just like what my wife did just yesterday. She went to the doctor. She was the second person in the bill, one of two patients or whatever. Still had to wait an hour, which just don't seem right, but there was probably a reason for it. But she sat there, these big glass windows, and just watched the trees sway in the wind. So you can see why Shlomo said, there's only one thing God asked from us, except we live by his law. That's the conclusion of the whole. He went into way more insanity than I did. Way more. Just serve God. Because in the end, it's the only thing we can do. They can tell us, oh, hey, Passover's coming. We're a week away from the New Year's party, which we're going to have. I'm probably going to be mad by the time I get this equipment going again. I'll try not to be. At some point, we'll get it all stabilized. We've obviously got the video stabilized and probably the sound. And then, of course, for all I know, none of you are online anymore. That's the other thing, is it was showing that it was running perfectly from this end, and I had Rich was trying it out, and he's on the phone saying, "No, it's not. No, it's not." I'm like, "Well, Rich, it says it is." I didn't even have internet service at that point, and yet the thing was still going, saying it was great. So I don't know. Maybe I'm talking to myself. What was I saying? Where was I? Nobody. Oh, the New Year's service. We'll try to be online. We'll say Happy New Year's to everybody. And this is the real New Year's, by the way. This is the one that God declared to be New Year's. So this is the new year. We won't take very much of your time and all of that kind of stuff. But our governments are going to shut down. They're going to say, "Hey, you can't get together." There was my point. You can't get together. The Passover is coming. You can't get together. And this is very important for us to know. Very, very important. When our forefathers, whether you were born an Italian or born French, or you consider yourself just to be American because you were born here, whether you grew up in a Christian church or a Jewish synagogue, if you're living for God, if you're literally living the life of Torah, that's you, Yehudi. If I put you together as a group, then that makes us Yehudim. And you remember what that means. It's from two words. The first part of that Yeh sound, is short for Yah, which is, of course, the short name of God. And that's done to make it intimate. It's personal. So you put that at the front of it, and then what do you add to it? Hud. The word hud, which is to imitate, to be a carbon copy. It's that sort of thing. So it's the imitators of Yah. And that's difficult for the Western world to understand, because they've lost this concept, this understanding that the Torah is God's lifestyle. He doesn't kill. He doesn't steal. He doesn't destroy. He doesn't send tornadoes to destroy one house and not the other. God does not do that. But he did create the tornado, and there was a reason for it. And if we know that reason, then we should know we shouldn't live there. If we know the reason why lightning strikes hit in forests and burn them down, then we should know not to live there, not to build our houses there. But we should also know, let's don't blame God for this. There's a purpose that he hit. This is all part of his design. It's not random, and it's not purposeful. He's not trying to hurt anybody. I went down memory lane and got lost. Oh, but what we've either never learned or have forgotten as a society is that Torah living is God's lifestyle. If he has a friend whose ox winds up in a ditch, then he will help that man or woman, that friend, get that ox out of that ditch. And he won't consider that to be legalistic. He'll consider that to be kindness. And we as humans should consider that to be basic human kindness, not legalism. It's God's lifestyle. And the only thing that we have control over is whether we're going to live God's lifestyle. So when our forefathers said all that God has said, they didn't say, "Yeah, we'll try to make it. No, well, if as long as our government allows it, we'll do it." No, they said, "We'll make it happen. We will find a way to make it happen." And that covenant only applies to us if we live by it. In other words, That's why the Jews say that every generation from that point on it's as if we were all there and we all said yes. And if we don't get that, then we don't understand what a covenant is or what covenant living is. See, with the Christians, they say, Jesus, come into my heart. I love you, come into my heart, blah, 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 in the 8-second prayer. I don't even know what the 8-second prayer is, to tell you the truth. I mean, I think I said it when I was 9. I don't remember what I said. Someone led me through it. I was never taught in any college class I took what it was or how you're supposed to say. I have no idea. Oh, I'm out of time according to this. Hopefully that won't make noise. But the only thing that we can do is, if we cannot get together for New Year's, as a group at somebody's house or in our synagogue, we're way ahead of the game, aren't we? Because we can do it with this little box I'm looking at that's connected to that little round camera. We've already found a way to make it happen. If we cannot get together on Passover, then we're all going to have to get some lamb. Don and I are talking about getting some little lamb chops. What else are we going to do at this point? Food's about the only thing you're allowed to go get, right? I mean, by the time Passover comes, that's what we're expecting. Not going to be allowed to leave our property. I mean, we don't know if it'll get that bad. But it's all vanity, because at some point it'll be over. It'll be like a year from now, people are going to hardly remember it. Well, maybe 5 years from now. It's all vain to get all worked up and to worry about those things. Only thing we can do right now is under God's law and to obey our covenant to make it happen. So if you have to do this at your home and you're the only one there, all you need is one lamb chop. You don't really need very much. You don't want to, because think about it, you got to get rid of it. So think about this. If you don't have a place where you can burn your stuff, probably shouldn't buy anything with bones in it. Ow. I have to get these things adjusted. Anyway, this isn't, we get down, we let things get to us. I know. I did that today. But in the end, all I can do is put my tzitzit on, say the Shema, and live according to God's law. Yeah. Let's go to the blessing. Shalom, shalom, y'all.
The blessing, Be'ivrit. Yevarecha Yahweh v'yish merecha. Yahweh panai v'lecha v'hunecha. Yisa Yahweh panai v'lecha v'yasim lecha shalom. And in English, may Yahweh cause you to lie down so that you may rest. May he touch and caress you. May he prepare you for what is ahead. May he watch over you. May he keep you from harm. May he cause goodness to grow in you and take away the bad. May he arrange your life and cause you to flourish. May he cheer you up and gladden your heart. May he cause his light to shine through you. May he show you tenderness and favor and love in his presence. May he show you kindness and be delicate towards you. May he show you his generosity, mercy, compassion, and desire for you as it comes forth from the depths of his soul. May he lift you out of your pit and deliver you from the things that hold you prisoner. May he draw you to his chest and cast his eyes on yours. May he show you his love and desire for you as he cradles you in his arms. May he bear your punishment and pardon you of your sin. May he take you for his bride. May he establish a foundation in you. May he place his name on your heart and mind and make your body his temple. May you be his treasure. May you always be on his mind. May he draw you near and comfort you when you are afraid. May he assure you there is nothing to fear because he is with you. May you and all that concerns you be at peace because he is your friend. Amen.